and try to get something that pops so people will actually take a real look and not just scroll past you or. How
about like merchandise, like stuff that grabs people's attention, like shirts and stuff? Do you guys still get into a lot of like shirts?
We do. We have in the past, and it's. It's not the cheapest thing in the world to do. I'm not, not being a tight ass, but it's not the cheapest thing in the world to do, and the rule of thumb has always been and will always be: if you print T-shirts, you'll make enough money to print more T-shirts.
Yeah, just about.
So sometimes I just make them. I silk screen. I got a silk screening kit. I don't know how many years ago. Many years ago, and I hand painted our sort of the font that our logo is, and I still have the screen; it's still intact. And so, if we want to like rattle off some simple shirts for a show, and those we just give away.
Yeah, that's what it usually turns out to. Right, exactly. Like at the level when you're in promoting and you're playing the local shows, we give out, even with CDs today, we had some limited amount of CDs made of the EP, but a lot of it is digital downloads. And we've done, in the past, we've had like download cards that are also a sticker. So it's the sticker with the logo, and then in the back it would have a number, and you go on CD Baby and you type in that number, and you can have the download. So bands can either sell them, give them away, and it was like, it's like one of the things we talked about with the internet. The flip side, which is hard, is that because there's so easy access to put your name out there, there's no filter, and there's so much out there that it's hard, to find. I always tell people, support bands that are doing their own music because there's so many of them. But it's hard. That's why it's hard to find a niche, because the internet is just full of so many artists and bands. And you kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit when you're just putting stuff out there, and that's why like the streaming services like Spotify, which is very popular now. We're on Spotify as well. Apple Music, Rhapsody. You try to do all those things to give people like a chance. The first thing I say to people is like, how do you get your music? Because not everybody buys CDs anymore. And so people say, well, I listen to Pandora, I listen to Spotify. Well, we're available on a lot of the streaming, sites, but the best way to experience any artist is
not on Pandora. Not on
Pandora yet. We're working on that.
Oh,
on Pandora.
They've got some history.
So here's an interesting thing about Pandora. This is something people should know, actually. I don't know if they still do this, but in order to sort of vet for their catalog, and by the way, the storage and bandwidth isn't free, so they've got, you do kind of have to choose your battles. Obviously, it's getting cheaper, and it's getting bigger and smaller at the same time. But I guess you can understand wanting to sort of vet, and you want to have if you just put on you're like a random playlist, you want all the stuff to be good. So I completely understand. I think they should be meticulous about it. That's great. Mm-hmm. But what they used to do was, in order to make sure that you were serious, you had to have a physical product that was available on Amazon with a code.
Oh yeah,
like you had to have like a UPC or something. One of those.
Which used to be a lot more difficult to get. You used to go and register, and you had to find somebody to copyright and everything. Yeah. It was a huge process to get that done.
And now just Makers does it for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, can I hug you? It's awesome. But they that's just another thing to keep in mind when you're designing your back cover, because I forgot about it. Oh yeah, we got to leave space for the code. And so that's how they would do that. So that like you said, it used to be a lot harder. It's a little easier now, but it's still kind of a lot of hoops to jump through. You've got to create an account. You have to create an online store through Amazon and get the code and get it all up there and have it really be available for purchase, for physical purchase. And the last time we did that with Pandora, they sent us back an auto response thing saying, we're no longer taking submissions at this particular time. Feel free, Which is
that's a little nicer than mine.
I was like, but I just basically worked for you, Right. I mean, it's gonna help me a lot, but this wasn't just, hey, you know what? I got a couple hours to kill. Why don't I do all of these, why don't I do all this stuff that has nothing to do with being an artist? That's a great use of my time. And then to not have it come to fruition, it's kind of like, all right. So I tell my friends, like, we're not on Pandora, and they were kind of jerks to us, and so sorry. If that's the one you use.
That's funny about Pandora, too, because they're one of the, like, I'm on Spotify myself and a lot of the other big things, and I tried to get on Pandora, and this was after they changed over to the digital submissions where you didn't have to send in the physical stuff anymore. And they sent me an email, essentially, that said that I was not in their target market.
Really? Because they have everything.
They basically told me they didn't think anybody would like it. So I'm like, oh, that's great.
That's so messed up, dude.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
That's not that far off from everything. It's not like some avant-garde, bizarre, like strange stuff. I mean, the theme song from the show that you guys heard at the beginning of the show here, that's me. So, I mean,
it's not great. That's great.
Yeah, and it's not like, I know it's not groundbreaking stuff, but it's not like, somebody taking a whale sound and manipulating it through 5 amps and calling it a song,
Not that there's anything wrong with that, mind you,
but that's your next single, right?
I do want to mention, since we're promoting, we're talking, one of the other things which is great that Serial Obsession is, we're also in a lot of AMI Row jukeboxes and also Touch Tunes jukeboxes, which are, there are like 60,000 jukeboxes across the country, and jukeboxes are now digital. They're all internet, and we're on. So anybody going out for a burger and a beer, hit your local juke joint, and you can request us. You go on to any AMI Row or any Touch Tunes jukebox anywhere, and get your fill of Serial Obsession.
Which we recommend.
Just another shameless plug, but somebody's got to do it. So
what song is actually in the jukebox?
On the AMI Row network, we have our old a CD that we did a while back called Shotgun Opera, and all those tunes are available.
It's every track but one. They took one off. I think it's because we didn't put explicit when we submitted it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
somebody
okay.
caught on.
Oops.
Yeah.
So it's 9 out of 10 songs are on that.
Yeah. I think they pulled So Cold because I used the F word in the chorus.
I didn't even realize that.
I would never do. I wouldn't do it as a rule just because I'd only do it if I really wanted to do it. It's just
there's always a time and place for exactly. I mean, if it's in the context of the song, then.
Right, and if you swear all the time...
Right, it wasn't...
What word do you use when you're actually angry?
Yeah. Gosh darn it.
Dang nabbit. And on Touch Tunes, track...
I used to work with a guy who's a former Mormon, and he would never swear, but he used to call people mother freaker. And it's like, dude, that's way worse. That's so creepy.
My daughter is almost a year and a half old, and so I've been known to have a pretty terrible mouth myself, so I've had to try real hard to replace words. And so the word I use for everything now is goodness. So I'm like, goodness sake.
Oh, that's good. I like it.
You can kind of tell
how much...
My mom
says Christmas. My mom says Christmas. So I recommend that. That's a good one. So wait, Martin, what's on the AMI? We've got a track up. No, on the Touch
And on the Touch Tunes network, our track "Happy Ever After" from the new EP, "Pull the Pin," available on iTunes, Amazon, and CD Baby.
It's very catchy, by the way.
Shells is going to play it next, right, Shells?
How did you know? Yeah, I had it queued up. Are we?
See, because it's you know what? Because now that we've been talking, we have this bond now, and I feel you from Brooklyn to Washington. It's this connection we have now.
We're all family now.
We're all family now.
All right.
Hey, Sean, check the chat room. You have a question for you. Did you see it?
Oh, I do. Oh, wait. Oh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't think Tina heard my comment.
20%. Oh, okay. So you know who just asked me this question? Okay, aforementioned best friend, writer and producer of Game of Thrones, Brian Cogman, who is listening right now. Hello. I don't know if he's listening because he loves me or because it's out of guilt because I just listened to the last 2 podcasts he was on. They were actually great. This is a Space Coast to Coast quote.
I knew I'd heard it from somewhere.
He had Donny Osmond on, and because it was Donny. If Marie's a little bit country and you're a little bit rock and roll, what's the rest of you? Thank you, Brian. So let's see, country and Marie's. If I'm a little bit country, what's the rest of me? I'm going to say water, mostly water, but then adrenaline and not yoga. Whatever the opposite of yoga is, that's what the rest of me is.
Well, since yoga is like stretching yourself out, wouldn't it be like a board? Like a plank of wood?
Planking?
Planking, there we go.
I guess, yeah, or it could be like screaming.
Oh, there's that too, yeah.
The opposite of yoga may be screaming.
Acupuncture.
So, I don't know. Yeah, that's my answer.
And he's sticking to it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, here is Happy Ever After Sarah's session.